The 49ers Report is presented to you by Magic Spoon. If you want cereal that's actually good for you, uses quality ingredients, that's packed with 13 grams of protein per serving and 0 grams of sugar, hey, head to magicspoon.com/49ers Report. You get $5 off your purchase. You're watching the 49ers Report by Chat Sports. I am your host, Chase Senior. The 49ers finally have their official and initial 53-man roster as they have cut a bunch of players. We're going to break down that roster and take a look at the players that they did let go. But the day did start with the trade as part of these roster transactions. And basically what the 49ers did here was they traded away Jonas Griffith, a linebacker out of Indiana State who is yet to make an NFL roster, really flashed in the preseason. He wasn't going to make this team, so they dealt him to the Denver Broncos, and in exchange got a 2022 6th-round pick and a 2023 7th-round pick. This is what smart organizations do. They pinpoint players who aren't going to make the team, and then they get back some value for those guys. As for the 49ers roster cuts today, there were a lot of them, so let's take a look at the guys who are no longer a part of this team. Senio Kelemete, the offensive lineman, the Hawaii legend, has been let go. So too has Josh Hokit, who I think is actually a really good quality fullback as a backup to Kyle Juszczyk, but you don't bring and have and maintain two fullbacks on your roster. He has been cut as well. There is the hope that he's going to come back onto the practice squad. Jake Brendel, who at times played very, very well throughout training camp as well as in the preseason, has also been cut. MyCole Pruitt, he was due to make around $500,000 in guaranteed money, but the tight end room is very deep, talented, and capable. He is not going to be on this roster either. Ha Clinton-Dix intercepted Nathan Peterman in that preseason finale against the Las Vegas Raiders. Didn't have enough time to prove himself to make it as a safety. Maybe the Niners are going to be able to bring back him on the practice squad as well. I think he's way too good to not be on an NFL roster. Travis Benjamin, he's 31 years old. He's been proven throughout his NFL career, but the Niners receivers are talented, and there's a youth movement in that wide receiver room. That leaves Travis Benjamin on the outside looking in. Nsimba Webster has some speed, dynamic ability with the ball in his hands, but he has been let go. So too have Alexander Myres, the cornerback, Jordan Matthews, the tight end, who is trying to make that positional switch from wide receiver to tight end. Maybe you also sign him to the practice squad as well to further and continue his development for that positional switch. And then one of the biggest surprise cuts today on Cutdown Day, Wayne Gallman. JaMycal Hasty in, Wayne Gallman out. This is why you subscribe to the 49ers Report, because the Niners trimmed down their roster to 53 guys just moments ago, and minutes later, we're bringing you a video. Help us get to 38,000 subscribers. We're 111 subscribers away from doing that, and if you want the best 49ers news and rumors right here on YouTube, smash that subscribe button or go to youtube.com/49erstv. More cuts to get to. Dontae Johnson, the defensive back, out. Nate Sudfeld has also been let go. So Kyle Shanahan going with two quarterbacks on this initial 53-man roster with Jimmy Garoppolo and Trey Lance goes to show you that that chip in Trey Lance's throwing hand is not all that serious of an injury. Eddie Yarbrough, the well-traveled defensive lineman, not making the team either. Alex Barrett, River Cracraft have also been waived. Darrion Daniels, Alfredo Gutierrez, Justin Hilliard, Corbin Kaufusi, as well as Jared Mayden are a part of the 49ers roster cuts today. Alfredo Gutierrez is part of the International Pathway Program, so he is still going to be under team control. He is a developmental prospect coming up from Mexico. The hope is that you can continue to also develop him and turn him into a diamond-in-the-rough prospect down the road. I think Justin Hilliard out of Ohio State, the UDFA, has a good chance to come back on the practice squad as well, and Jared Mayden has really good defensive back instincts out of Alabama. Colton McKivitz, a little bit of a surprise at offensive tackle. He has been cut as well. So too have Dakoda Shepley and Elijah Sullivan, who is trying to make this team as a hybrid linebacker and defensive back. He played a lot of DB at Kansas State. He, like Justin Hilliard, was an undrafted free agent. He, too, could be a part of that 49ers practice squad as a guy who the 49ers defensive staff wants to keep in-house so that they can turn him into a special teams player, best case scenario, a defensive contributor a year or two down the road. So Niner gang, this is what I want you to do right now before we look at the final depth chart, or at least the initial depth chart for this 53-man roster. Who are you most upset about the Niners cutting today? Is it a guy like Wayne Gallman, who I still think is a very good running back? Did you want Nate Sudfeld to make this team? If you did, you're lying to yourself, because he didn't do anything to prove himself in the preseason. And if Josh Rosen outplays you and shows that he's better than you, that's saying something. But let me know who you are most upset about the Niners cutting, and get those names in the comment section down below. As I mentioned off the top, the 49ers Report is made possible today thanks to our friends at Magic Spoon. I'm telling you, this cereal is guaranteed to rock your taste buds, but here's the thing. Unlike all of the traditional brands out there, Magic Spoon uses quality ingredients, it's loaded with protein, and has 0 grams of sugar per serving, to go along with only 4 grams of net carbs. I've tried out all of these flavors, all of them are fantastic, and if you want to try it out and also get a healthy dose of cereal, you can get $5 off your checkout by going to magicspoon.com/49ers Report. The logos, the branding, it's awesome. The flavors are phenomenal. But what's most important to me is that when I was younger, I was eating all of these awful brands of cereals, and they made me really fat. Luckily, I've been able to trim down and reintroduce cereal into my diet thanks to our friends at Magic Spoon. That link is in the description of this video. Let's move ahead by looking at the initial 53-man roster and kind of examining every positional group with this depth chart. So Kyle Shanahan kind of bold here. In years past, he's gone with 3 quarterbacks on the opening roster. Now he's only going with 2. Is Nate Sudfeld going to come back as part of the practice squad? I think there's a potential of that happening. Maybe Shanahan is going to scour the quarterback market to try to upgrade there with QB number 3. But as of right now, even though Shanahan has been tinkering and experimenting with a 2-quarterback system, it's Jimmy G and Trey Lance in the 1-2 spots at that quarterback spot. Niners are also going with 4 running backs. Raheem Mostert, Trey Sermon, JaMycal Hasty beats out Wayne Gallman, and then the Niners go with the rookie Elijah Mitchell out of Louisiana. Understandable to see why they went with Hasty and Mitchell over Gallman. They're younger players with more upside, and of course you have to factor in Kyle Juszczyk into the equation as well. He's the best fullback in the National Football League, paid like it, as he is also the highest paid fullback in the National Football League. From running back to wide receiver, really like the makeup of the starters here. I have some concerns about the depth. Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, Mohamed Sanu, Trent Sherfield, Jalen Hurd, and Jawan Jennings. I think that all of these guys are going to be on the 49ers opening day roster against the Detroit Lions. The big name here, it's Jalen Hurd making the team. Practiced back-to-back days last week, was able to contribute and play, getting on the field for the first time since the 2019 preseason against the Las Vegas Raiders in that preseason finale. He showed this coaching staff that, 1, he is healthy, and his blend of size, speed, athleticism, and positional versatility, too much to overlook and to cut him. He does make the final 53. Hopefully he can stay healthy, because as a jump ball wide receiver, he could be extremely dangerous. 49ers also going with 3 tight ends. Last year, the initial roster featured 4. It's going to be George Kittle, Ross Dwelley, Charlie Warner. We know that Kyle Shanahan really values tight ends. George Kittle is an all-pro. Dwelley, Warner, very capable backups. As for this offensive line, the starters, very, very good. And the Niners go with 8 offensive linemen here. Once you start dipping into the depth, that's when I get a little bit weary about this offensive line depth. But the starters, I think it's the best starting offensive line in the NFC West. Across the board, Trent Williams, Laken Tomlinson, Alex Mack, Daniel Brunskill, Mike McGlinchey are your starters. Tom Compton, the surprise here because of a good preseason and training camp showing. He does make this team initially, so too do Aaron Banks, a second-round pick out of Notre Dame, and Jalen Moore, the 5th-round pick out of Western Michigan, who can play a little tackle as well as guard. Let's shift over to the defensive end of the football. This Niners defensive front, I think it's going to be not only one of the best in the NFL, one of the deepest. I think they're 8 to 10 deep legitimately. Eric Armstead, Javon Kinlaw, DJ Jones, who's criminally underrated at defensive tackle, and Nick Bosa are your starters. And then factoring in as backups, all guys who are good against the run and can get after opposing quarterbacks. D Ford, Contavious Street, Mo Hurst, he's going to go on to IR, so he's not part of the 53-man roster. Jordan Willis is suspended. He doesn't count toward the 53 either, but Kevin Givens, Samson Ebukam, Zach Kerr, and Arden Key do make the team. As for the linebackers, D'Amico Ryans has 5 of them to play with. Azeez Al-Shahir, Fred Warner, Dre Greenlaw, Marcel Harris, and this experiment of him starting his career at defensive back, moving to linebacker, has proven to be successful. He's one of the best special teams players on this team. And then Demetrius Flanagan-Foles. He beats out guys like Jonas Griffith, who got traded, as well as Elijah Sullivan and some of the other younger players on this team. Good job by him to make this team. He's certainly capable as a backup linebacker. To defensive back now. Emmanuel Mosley, K'Wan Williams, Jimmy Ward, Jaquaski Tart, and Jason Verrett. No real surprises there. I'm not surprised that Diamador Lenore made this team either, because he's looking to be a steal out of Oregon this past draft. Ambry Thomas is raw, has a lot of work to do. No surprise there because he didn't really play last year at Michigan because he was a COVID opt-out. Hasn't really played any football since 2019. That is showed in the preseason and training camp as well. And then you have Wilson, Hufanga, and Harris. Devontae Harris is really the surprise player here who does make the team over some guys like Dontae Johnson. So Harris, Hufanga, Wilson, Lenore, and Ambry Thomas, your backups in the secondary. I kind of do like the depth there as that is shaken out over time. And you can't forget about the specialists, because punters, kickers, long snappers, they are people too, and they do also occupy 3 spots on this roster. Robbie Gould, he's going to be your kicker. Mitch Wishnowski is going to be your punter. Had a 75-yard boot against the Raiders on Sunday. And Tabor Pepper is your long snapper. So just like that, that is the initial 49ers 53-man roster. So let me know what you think about it, Niner Gang. Get into the comment section and let me know. A, B, C, D, or F. I think this roster as a whole is no doubt a B. Some might even say it's an A. On good days, it might be. Before we get out of here, subscribe to the 49ers Report. Another reminder that we're bringing you the best 49ers news and rumors right here on YouTube. Niners announced their initial 53-man roster. We have you covered with a video. Trey Lance goes down with that chip in his finger. We have you covered with a video. Basically, everything that happens with this football team, we cover it here on the 49ers Report. So smash that subscribe button down below and help get us to 40,000 subscribers.